Next one is a Salesforce Sandbox. Now we have seen the edition. Now next thing is a sandbox. Now what is the sandbox? Why Salesforce or a developer uses sandboxes? Now let's say here Salesforce. We all know Salesforce is a cloud-based software. It is a cloud-based software. Right, so this cloud-based software, we are using this CRM to handle the customer relationship management. That means we are handling the customer data. If it is a cloud-based, is nothing but everybody can access this. So one of the cloud-based is Ghana.com. Right? So Ghana.com, anybody, if they log in, everybody can access the songs. There is no restriction. This is also sits into the cloud. Now, if assume that Salesforce is like this, and there are so many companies are using the Salesforce. And if I'm working on the some vehicle related information, I can see the hospital information also. That means everybody can see everybody's data, which is not right. Because here we are not dealing with the data, customer data. That's the reason Ghana.com is open for everyone. But if I'm dealing with the data or any sensitive information, like similar like Gmail. Gmail is we are dealing with the data, sensitive information, communication, attachment. So it has a very sensitive information. So this is also sits into the cloud. But based on the username, whoever is the user is logged in. So based on the username, we will give access to only that particular data, right? Similarly, Salesforce is also, we are not showing all the information to everybody. So we are restricting it. So that is the first point. We are restricting to see the data which is specific to the one. Now this is when I logged in, I can see the data only related to this box. Now this box is, assume that this container is accessible by the client. Same container is accessible by the developer. Same container is accessible by the QA. Same container is accessible by the customers. Assume that if developer does a lot of things, right? That we get them, they delete it, they modify, they do a lot of things. When they are doing them at the back end and it is disturbing the customers will not prefer to use this application. As you same thing, Gmail. If I'm an end user, there is also developer is available on the in order to implement. If developer and I'm using the same container. So developer is making the changes and I'm just now I have seen the email. But after 2 minutes, I'll not be able to see this email because this email will sit into the spam. No, but what is the reason it is happening here? Backend developer is working on something here. So which we get disturbed. Now we will tell the Gmail developer saying that, okay, once you complete it, let me know, I'll open to check my emails, which is not wrong, right? We will be frustrated to open the Gmail. Same thing here, customers are frustrated to open the application if you keep on changing it. That's the reason Salesforce has decided to separate for everyone. Everyone should have a separation. That means client will have their own way to test it. Customers should not be disturbed. Whatever they are doing, the activities, they should go ahead. Without any disturbance, they should do all their activities. And developer, without a customer interaction, they can build their own. QA, without a customer interaction, without developer interaction, without client interaction, they should be able to test it. client, they should be able to add few more features or test their features by adding the certain information. They can load the data, so they can do their activities. That means everybody's need a separate container. Now, in order to do that, so Salesforce has came up with a concept called sandboxes. So they have came up with a concept called sandboxes. So when we talk about the sandboxes, now the question is, how can we limit? So first of all, on this container, there is a limits are available, right? So we have a limits, like if it is a professional edition, we can create a less data. If it is unlimited, that's okay. If it is enterprise edition, we have some limit. So we have this limit. Now this limit has to be spread with the different sandboxes, right? In order to do that, Salesforce has came up with some flow, or has divided into 4 types. One is a full sandbox, partial sandbox, developer pro sandbox, developer sandbox. So the first one is let's go to the paint. This is the main container. Container is nothing but which is a Salesforce. Now this is the Salesforce which we have created, the main one. Like this can be called as a production. This can be called as a production. Production is we should not be touching anything code wise. So that's the reason what Salesforce has decided is they have decided it. Now you can go ahead and do it divide this into the multiple boxes. Now we will not be dividing it. We will be taking the copy of the existing one. So you can take a copy of this existing one. Like this, we will be creating the 4. And the first one is a developer sandbox. Developer the first one, developer sandbox. And the second one is developer pro sandbox. And the third one is partial sandbox. Partial copy sandbox. And the fourth one is full sandbox. This is the full sandbox. So we have a 4 sandboxes. Developer sandbox is nothing but now developer sandbox provides the very limited. Like you will have all the applications you can see, UI level, all the applications you can see. All the applications you can see, and it will have a ready to implement features will be there. But coming to the storage, here the storage will be the very limited, which is 200 MB. The storage will be, you will have only 200 MB storage. 200 MB storage. You can create it. So you can create the developer sandbox, which is a storage of 200 MB. That means you can create the data, very less data. Very less data. Now, if you want more data to be created, assume that, okay, so here, let's say developer need to create a more data. Maybe they have to load some lakhs of data in order to test their development code. In that case, what we can do, okay, this option does not work. Then you can go to the sandboxes. In the sandboxes, you can see all the things, and it has a file data storage and file storage, data storage will be more. So it will be like a 1 GB storage mechanism. That means you will compare to developer sandbox. Developer Pro will be having the more storage. It can handle the more tasks for a development to do it, or a QA to test it any further, or if you want to do the training to the another members with the more data, you can do that. Now, next one is a partial copy. Partial copy is compared to these two. You will have a more data, which is a 5 storage will be the more, which is a 5 GB. 5 GB storage you will have it, data storage. So it has a more capacity compared to this. Full sandbox is nothing but it is exactly same as the production. Exactly same as the production. Now, if you look at here, the full sandbox it is same as the production, and it includes these all information. Like it includes the configuration, Apex metadata, all users, records, sandbox templates, history, charter, data, everything is available. Now, if you go to the partial data, you will have a 5 GB capacity, and compared to full sandbox, it has a less information like a configuration, Apex metadata, all users, records will be available, some kind of a template will be available, but you will not see the history and charter data, option information, other information you cannot see. Similarly, the Developer Pro, you will have a 1 GB capacity. Compared to these two, you will have a very less configuration, affects all users. You will not see all the records, you will not see all the templates. So those will not be available, and capacity also less. Now coming back to the developer is a very less capacity, and so you will have the same information which Developer Pro is having, same data will be there. Now, these sandboxes will be refreshed automatically by the Salesforce. Now, every 29 days, the full sandbox will be refreshed. Every 5 days, the partial data will be refreshed. Every 1 day, the developer pro sandbox will be refreshed. Every developer, this one, developer pro will be refreshed after daily. Refresh is nothing but it will not delete your data. Just it will make sure that there is no cache or nothing is available. So Salesforce has some mechanism so that they will not be touching your data. Whatever you are doing it, they will not touch your data. So it is refresh interval this is the one. Now this is how it shows the sandboxes. Now sandboxes, if you want to create in the developer edition, you cannot create it. So this is the developer edition. Now, in this developer edition, if you type here sandboxes, you will not be able to see the sandboxes. So the other way of creating the to know how to create a sandboxes is we have editions, right? These are the editions. Like you can go to the Sales Cloud. You can go to the Sales Cloud and you can choose any edition. Here we have a one option which is a try for free. You can create a one try for free, and I just created it, this one. So just now I have created it. Before starting the class, I have created the professional edition. Now here you can see sandboxes. Search here sandboxes. So only real-time editions will have a sandboxes option. If you want to see how it works, now you can go to the particular cloud and create a try for free version. So you can create a one, and here it shows that sandboxes are special organization that are used to test the changes or new apps without risking the damage to your production data. That means without disturbing the customer, we can implement our own functionality. We can modify any existing one. We can delete it, whatever you wanted to do, you can test it, you can modify anything in the sandboxes. Now, there is a restriction in the each edition. If it is a professional edition, you will have a developer sandboxes. You can create a 10. Developer sandboxes 10, you can create it. Developer Pro, no additional license available, no additional license is available, no license. So if it is a partial edition, you can, this is for the free version. So if you go for a paid one, right? If you go for a paid one, you might get here, how many developer pros can I create it? How many partial copy can I create it? How many full copy can I create it? So it will give the options here. Now click on this new sandbox. When you click on the new sandbox, now at the bottom, it will give you the sandbox licenses here. Now you have it. Yes.
Madam, when we have a full copy of that, why they given remaining 3 developer pro and partial copies? Madam? Is there any criteria for those remaining 3 also?
Yes, hold for that question. Now here developer is 10 is available. Developer Pro, we do not have any additional license. Partial copy, no additional license is available. Full, no additional license is available. But if you go for the paid version, so they might give you the option Developer Pro, you can create a two Developer Pro sandboxes, you can create it, partial copy 2, you can create it, full sandbox, you can create it 1. So which is a paid one, like a partial, whatever this addition is there, this addition will be having more of this. Now, similarly, if you go to the unlimited, you will have a more sandboxes to create. You can create a developer pro here, 5, the partial copy, you can create a 5, and full copy, you can create at least 2 or 3, you can create it. If you want more, you have to purchase the license. Now, let's say here, full sandboxes creation is done. I need a one more sandbox, which is a full sandbox. In that case, we need to talk to the Salesforce. If you pay the license cost, they will give you the another full sandbox cost. Now, in this scenario, we have a 4 sandboxes are available. Now, usually, developer will be working on either developer sandbox or developer pro sandbox. Developer or a admin. The reason is developer and admin will be playing with the customization. They do not need the real-time data here. They just need a data, and sometimes if they need a data, they can get it here in the developer. Right? So mostly they will be working on admin part, mostly they will be working on customization, right? Coding part of it, they will be working on it. So they will be playing the most of the things in the admin and coding. If they need a data, they can create a data. So developer and admin will be mostly developing the code in the sandboxes, developer and developer for sandbox. Now, partial copy is specific to the QA. Now, QA can use the developer. Now, the question is, can QA does not, they cannot use the developer for sandbox. If your project is a 2 months project, or if your project is a 3 months project, which is a less than 6 months project, you can have a QA to work in same sandbox, developer sandbox. But if your project is running for 2 years, like there is a lot of data is there, and QA need to create so much of information, the data has to be created, multiple records has to be created. Right, multiple records has to be created, so much customer data they have to create it, and they have to test it multiple times, because QA one user story, they will be testing it 10 different ways. One user story, they will be testing in 10 different ways until unless they find a bug. So like this, if I have a 300 stories or more than 300 stories, each story like a 10, you can assume like some thousands of data they will be creating it. So in that case, they need some capacity sandbox which has a more capacity to hold the data, which is partial copy. Now, once the QA is done, what they will do, they will give it to the client saying that, okay, our application is working fine. Now, client, what they will see, client is already having the production, client is already having the production here. When they have a production here, Now they will not say, okay, if it is working, just move to the production. No, they will not say. They will say that, okay, we have another sandbox which is called as a full sandbox. Full sandbox is nothing but which is a copy of the production. Full sandbox is nothing but copy of the production. That means exactly same as the production. If this application is working in this full sandbox without any issue, and in client side also we have a BA will be there. Client side, there is a BA will be there. So BA they will log in into the full sandbox and they will test entire application. If everything is perfectly working fine, and if BA agrees that, okay, this application is working fine, now everything is approved here, then only we will move to the prod. Because you might see some issues when it is working here, it might not be working here because of some kind of a data which is available here, it is not available here. Right, so the application or some functionality which is available here. So based on that, you will be able to see. That's the reason they will not say, okay, move to production, they will not say. They will always prefer full sandbox to test it. If client VA approves that it is working fine in full sandbox, which is the exactly copy of the production, if it is working fine, then they will say, okay, now go ahead and do the production. Now, once it is moved to the production, client can access, customers can access. So that's the reason we have a different sandboxes. Now, any questions on this? How many sandboxes we have?
4 sandboxes.
What are those?
Developer sandbox, developer
Developer partial copy, full copy.
sandbox.
Developer Pro, partial and full.
Full copy.
Now, I'll provide you this link, the trial head link, where you can check the sandboxes information.